Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near-death experience of Anthony, and this experience occurred in 1973 and was documented on January 1st of 2018. Open quote. My accident happened after lunch outside the school cafeteria. It was customary to help the janitor take the trash outside to the dumpsters. There was a side door with 2 or 3 concrete steps going down. This is where the accident occurred. I fell and hit my head unsupported on one of these concrete steps. I don't remember the accident. The circumstances are vague. What I do vividly recall is finding myself floating over a scene unfolding on the ground below me. It was a very surreal experience in hindsight, but at the time, my being was without negative feelings like fright, anxiety, concern, etc. It was a completely peaceful feeling. It was very natural, and I had no worries. I know I was very young at the time, but I am able to still experience it as it happened all these many years later. As I floated over the scene, I witnessed the other kids below me who were huddled around my body. Somewhere along the line, they moved my body closer to the large trash dumpster, which was top loading type and had wood steps with platform to reach it. Why they moved my body, I'm not sure. It was speculated later that this was done by the administrators at the school to cover up how the accident happened. But they did move my body, and I did watch them do it. This is an important point because there was a court deposition made by me where I testified that they moved my body, and the judge asked me how I knew this. In a matter-of-fact way, I told him I watched them do it. I was floating up above watching them. The judge was skeptical. I was 5 years old and wasn't just making it up. How and why would I? It was confusing to them. I didn't think it was confusing, and I thought it was natural. After floating above my body for some time, I began to slowly rise. I remember the large trees that I began to float above and past. I didn't get much higher than that. Then I shot back down. My next recollection was briefly regaining consciousness in the back of my mother's car as she rushed me to the hospital. The school didn't call an ambulance. Times were different back then, I suppose. I was in a semi-coma for a few days at the hospital. I regained consciousness abruptly at night by myself in a hospital room a few floors up. I got out of bed, walked to the window, and was freaked out because I didn't know where I was at. The thing that stands out about the whole experience was the feeling. It was a feeling of complete peace, unlike anything felt before or since. I know I was very young, but the feeling was very mature beyond my years at the time. It was a feeling of peace, content, acceptance of the circumstances without question. It wasn't something that I questioned, and it was totally natural. I do have the sense that I was sent back for a purpose, but I'm not sure what that may be. I don't live a perfect life. I do have strong morals, but not a passive life either. I suppose someday my questions will be answered. Until then, I don't fear death, but I don't embrace it either. End quote. Thank you, Anthony. That's amazing. 5 years old, and you saw them moving your body, and that feeling of peace and contentment without emotion, looking down on a scene, that's got to be definitely, as Anthony described it, surreal. And very interesting, too, how that occurs, because we see that a lot, how you floated above your body and you looked down and you saw everybody and didn't think one way or another. You were just there observing it. There are some questions here. Question, the associated life-threatening event, blunt force. I fell and hit my head on concrete steps while at school, kindergarten. Question, did you feel separated from your body? Answer, yes. I watched them move my body, which later it was proven to have happened. I clearly left my body. Rating your level of consciousness. Answer: more alert, conscious and alert than normal. I was 5 years old, but my consciousness was more mature in thought. And note here that we've seen that with young children and young children NDEs, that they think as if they're much older when they are outside their body. Interesting how the body kind of changes that as well, isn't it? We have talked about different things that the body kind of shields us from, and when the spirit moves out, you feel this wholeness with the world that's kind of shielded, and then you pop out here if you're a young child, and you're actually more mature than you were before, than you were in your body. Very interesting. I'm wondering how much of that you keep, right, that Anthony kept while talking about it. I mean, he's talking about it in court, it sounds like. Very interesting to think about that. Question: comparing your vision. Answer: at 5 years old, my vision was in short pulses, never focusing very long on anything. During my experience, I was calm and focused, and everything was just matter of fact. Why? It never entered my mind. Question: did you come to a border point of no return? Answer: I came to a barrier. Talking about your religion. Nothing. He was very young. He did believe in God. Didn't have any beliefs in what the meaning of life was at 5 years old. Question: did you gain special knowledge or information about your purpose during your experience? Answer: yes. Our purpose is to live and is decided by a higher power. In my opinion, suicide is a very bad thing. Question: was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer: yes. Hard to explain the feelings. Almost like anything that encumbered me was gone. Very pure feeling, like being just born. Question: how accurately do you remember the experience as compared to other life events around the same time? Answer: I was age 5. I only remember bits and pieces from that age. My experience is complete and vivid to this day, 45 years later. That's amazing. Question: have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer: yes. Less than a year in a live court deposition in front of a judge, met by skepticism. How can anyone understand something like that? Question: what do you believe about the reality of your experience? Experience was definitely real. Though it thought it was natural, I didn't know any better. I was 5 at the time. It's always been a part of my life. It really happened. End questions. End quote. There's something special about these young child NDEs. I don't know. They just have a different quality to them. I don't know if you guys feel that. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening. I hope you have a nice day.